This video lecture is about the playing field. And the question is, what is going on the playing field that affects our organization, but also what do we want to contribute to what is going on the playing field? And the playing field, of course, it's about developments on economics, politics, environment, social developments, global developments, communal developments, all kinds of developments that are going on there. But it's interesting, how are you able to know what is going on? And of course you can sit together and make analyses about what is going on in the organization and invite people from the strategy department or do it just by top management. But then you neglect all the knowledge and experience in the organization, because all the people working there have experience from their own work what is going on the playing field. So why don't you ask them? Then you have more involvement in the change process. This is about change as collaborative play. Can you do it collaboratively? And then secondly, it's interesting. So many years ago, we experienced our organization as simple and we could foresee what was going on there. So what we did was analyzing the situation and reacting on what was going on. But then later, so last century, about 70s more or less, the world became more complex. What we saw was internet coming up and change of business processes. And this complexity, well, you were still able to analyze or diagnose it and to see how you can adapt. But then again, nowadays, the world we experience is more dynamic. And when I ask people in businesses what is their feeling about the environment, it is a dynamic environment that is unforeseen. And what you can do in an unforeseen situation is experiment and reflect and learn about it. And of course, the final one is some organizations may experience chaotic situations. You don't know what is really going on, where it starts, where it will finish. And then at least you need to stabilize and to act again and then reflect on it. And so there's the balance between stabilizing and moving. Well, nowadays, most people experience the organization as dynamic and probably even chaotic. So what would you do now? Well, in the simple and complex environment, in fact, what you did was analyzing, diagnosing, using existing knowledge, foreseeing what you can do, scenario analysis, and then you act and react. But in the dynamic and complex environment, it's impossible because you don't know what's going on. So most important is acting, learning, reflecting. And you cannot do it alone because all the people in the organizations have experiences and they all are able to learn. And when they learn and reflect and share their experience, it becomes more easy to change the organization. Let me give you an example. Every country has a telecom agency. And the aim of this telecom agency is to take care that telecommunication is well organized in your country. And you can imagine that, well, many years ago, it was pretty simple. You had a telephone, you had television, you had radio, and that was it. And they were all connected by cables in analog way. But now we have mobile phones, we have internet, we have digitalization. So just imagine the developments in this organization, what they encounter. It's unbelievable. It's not only taking care for broadcasting, no, it's taking care for your safety when you use your mobile phone, when you use internet. And everything is connected now. It's Internet of Things. So businesses will stop when telecommunication is not working. And just think about hackers and unsafety in telecommunication. So the world of these organizations are completely changing from well-known, complex, to unknown, dynamic. And now just think, how are people able to realize what's really going on there? Well, what top management did together with the strategy department was making this analysis of the playing field. And they have done it well, I can tell you. And then they told all the people in the organization about the changes that were going on the playing field and what they need to do and that they need to change. And people did not believe them. They just missed the engagement. And then they started again. They start with all these professionals in the organization. Ask them about, what do you see in changes in your work, in your profession? And all these people are professionals and they just want to know what's really going on. So they shared all together, and the information was richer than what top management was thinking about or had analyzed. And when they share and bring all this information together, the whole organization had a wonderful perspective what was going on in the playing field. Digitalization, globalization, 5G, Internet of Things, mobility issues, e-health. So, and they also, in the dialogue, realized what it means for their own profession and the development of their own profession. So there was engagement, there was pleasure in the organization, and people were ready to change all together, collaboratively. So this is just one example about what is going on in the playing field. And you can imagine the challenges that they are confronted with safety, regulation, digitalization. And safety is an interesting issue, because when they were thinking about safety in mobile communication is so important now, they broadened the perspective. And they were not only looking at the technological parts, but also the societal parts. And they're not only working with the Ministry of Economics, but also the Ministry of Safety and the Ministry of the Interior and the Ministry of Infrastructure. So the perspective, how they had to act, broadens enormously. And in fact, it gives pleasure to them that they were able to develop their profession in a new way. When we talk about the playing field, we have three change dilemmas, considerations, you could say. And the first one is, are we able and willing to embrace uncertainty? If we look only at the playing field to look for stability, you will not discover what is really going on. But when you focus on uncertainty, of course, that creates confusion. It's ambiguous. You don't know where it is going, what to do. And are you able to cope with this uncertainty and share it with other people, where it may even create more uncertainty in the organization? But if we're not able to embrace uncertainty, we will never discover the dynamics that are going on the playing field. The second change dilemma related to the playing field is about playing with dynamics. And of course, it's easy to invite people to share observations, but are you then able to create a story about all these observations? Because the more experiences you collect, the more difficult it could be to create a story that is recognizable for all the people. And do you only invite people inside your organization, or do you also invite customers who have a lot of experiences, or suppliers or business partners? So are you able to play with the dynamics, and are you able to create a story that makes sense to all these people that you have invited? And the second one is about engagement. Of course, when you invite people to share observations, they get engaged and they learn from each other, and then it's more easy to create changes in your organization. If you make the analysis only by top management and staff departments, and then you tell the story to others, they may not believe you, as was the case with the Telecom Agency. So is it possible to engage people in understanding the dynamics on the playing field, transfer this understanding to their own work, and understand what it means for them in the future.